Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Spurs Up. As always, alongside Deric Rush, I'm your host, Jack Taylor. And this week, we've got another Gamecock athletic rundown for you as we're going to dive in to the teams that are getting ready for action this week.
We got an action-packed week ahead of us, so let's get right into it.
Yeah, first off, we've got men's basketball. They've got a tip-off event tonight with the women's team. It's at 6:30 at Boyd Plaza, so it'll be a cool opportunity for the fans and the community to come out and see what the team's got in store for them.
Yeah, man, AJ Lawson is not on the all-SEC team this year, which is a surprise. But at the same time, I'm also a little shocked at the fact that the team has been dropped from 7th to 10th in the SEC this year. Frank Martin actually said this is the deepest and fastest team that he's had, so I'm really surprised at where there must be some miscommunication as far as that's concerned.
The media's always been a little bit wary of, giving the Gamecock basketball team any credit. And, I mean, they were 4th last year in the SEC, so you'd think that would hold a little bit of bearings, keep them at least within single digits on the rankings.
I think what it is the fact that Chris Silva's gone, and that's one of the biggest questions is how do you replace Chris Silva? That post presence was there. Honestly, I don't think you do. I mean, but we have a good recruiting class. We have some young freshmen that are coming in. Trey Hannibal is one of the young freshmen that is coming in this year. I'm excited to see what he did. He had a very good career at Hartsville, so we're going to see what happens with this team this season.
Yeah, I think that in order to replace Chris Silva, like you said, I think you got to change your game plan, your style around it, where you have to have more guys in the paint, more guys lower down, so that they'll be able to crowd that. Because Chris Silva was such a big presence around there in his both defense and offense that you've got to find some other way to get the ball, to keep the ball out of there on defense, and then to get the ball down there on offense.
And then moving on to the women's tip-off event. The women are actually picked to win the SEC. They're 9th in the country currently, and they are the top recruiting class in the country. Tyasha Harris and Kiki Harrigan are back, and they're going to be returning. So what do you think about the women's team this year?
I mean, what more can you say about the women's team? They've always strived for success. That consistency that they have as a program is what's slated to have them win the SEC again because they're just such a dominant force. I mean, the only team that's really rivaled them in the past is Mississippi State.
Absolutely.
And so that I hope to see more of that rivalry this year. That's always been a very exciting matchup for the women's basketball team. And for the country, you never really know what teams are gonna rise to the top. The Gamecocks have yet to been that top 10 range for the past couple years, and they didn't have a great performance in the tournament this past year. But I think that's gonna motivate them with this new recruiting class coming in. I think we could see them go very far in the season and in the tournament this year. Moving on, we've got women's soccer, another solid women's team. They're number 7 in the country, and they're undefeated in the SEC. They've been on fire as of late.
And they're actually going to play Tennessee tonight at home at 7, so I think they're going to carry that momentum that they've been having this whole season. I've been hearing a lot of good conversation about them as far as playoff play is concerned, and I think this is going to be one of the better runs that they have in the past couple of years.
And they've been, like we've talked about, that consistency. They've been a consistently successful team, at least for the 4 years that I've been here. So it'd be awesome to see them, continue that throughout the postseason. I know they fill out Stone Stadium every time they have a home game, especially in an SEC matchup. I expect there to be a lot of fans out there rooting for them tonight.
Now switching over to the men's soccer side of things, we're just going to hope for the best. It's been a rough season for the team. They play Sunday versus FAU at 7. As I said, this has just not been one of those pretty ones for the men's soccer team. But hopefully they can put together a good strategy for this Sunday game and pull out a win against FAU.
Yeah, you always hope to be more optimistic as the season goes on. We always talk about how they are more of an end of the season team. We're yet to see that come into fruition, so we're hoping that our words won't be empty promises and that they will start to develop more as the season goes on. But you never know what you're going to get.
One can only hope. One can only hope.
Going to the other side of the spectrum, and the thing that all of Gamecock Nation is talking about and are going to continue to talk about for a while is one of the biggest wins I've seen, again, in my 4 years here at South Carolina.
What a great game it was to be a part of, too.
And that's beating the University of Georgia, number 3 in the nation, 20-17 in double overtime at Eugene Stadium.
And I think it goes without saying, game ball goes to Israel Mukwamu. He balled out against the Georgia Bulldogs on Saturday. He had 3 picks, 11 tackles, and I'm honestly just impressed at how much he rose to the occasion. Being that he's such a almost an isolated player over there on that side of the field. He pretty much handled that side of the field by himself. 11 total tackles. He had, I believe it was 4 assisted tackles and 7 on his own. So that's a great put out. And 3 picks. I mean, what a game.
And that's something we've been talking about since the beginning of this year, is that these defensive backs, this defensive back group was supposed to be one of the better parts of our defense. Was supposed to be one of the better duos in the country, and we had yet to see that actually come into fruition. We said with the Chapel Hill game, they looked terrible.
Right.
This game, not only the awareness to get in the area and get those picks, but I mean the way that he was physically able to get those picks. 2 of those picks, he was 45 degrees,
such an athletic
almost
player.
Horizontal, and then to keep for the pick 6 to keep on his feet, to keep in the sideline, sprint down, and then at overtime where the ball's tipped up in the air, he saw it, was able to reach a hand out, grab it, and lock down that overtime, which is one of the reasons why we were able to win that game, because it sent us into that second overtime. So Israel definitely got the game ball there. Javon Kinlaw had a great game as well. He had that blocked field goal, and I think that if we are going to continue this momentum, especially with the way the offense has been playing these past couple weeks. I mean, these are bigger teams defensively, but that defense is going to be the thing that carries us and keeps us in every game.
And not only the defense, obviously we're playing Florida this week. Ryan Helinski had the sprained knee in the Georgia game. Is he going to be able to be mobile in the pocket? He's not really much of a running quarterback, as we've noticed, but pocket mobility is going to play a role nonetheless. While Florida is missing Jabari Zuniga and John Greener, which are both of their 2 top premier pass rushers, is he going to be able to handle that load with the bum knee, or are they going to have to pull DeCarrion back into the game again?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, DeCarrion, don't get me wrong, he didn't have a great game, but he was able to continue the momentum, keep the Gamecocks on the field for at least a little bit, pick up a couple first downs.
It was more so game management.
It was more so time management, game management, which is what I love to see from Muschamp. And that's what they've been saying, is that since he's donned the glasses these past 2 weeks. We have one against Kentucky and Georgia.
Can we get a little glasses impersonation
there? We got a little
there?
glasses impersonation right here. He's been able to see the light and see the field clearly, know where the time is on the clock, able to manage well. That's what he did well against Georgia. I think that Helinski is going to be, it's not going to be a passing game. The passing game will be very, very toned down, especially if we're supposed to get this tropical storm that they have predicted coming to South Carolina at around 11 noon. So if that's going to happen, that means the ball is going to be on the ground, which is much better for the Gamecocks, as our running game has been gaining momentum these past couple of weeks with Dowdle and Feaster.
And with 2 of your rushers out of the game, that's really an option. That's an opportunity for Dowdle and Feaster to really take over. Maybe can have a tandem of 100-yard games between both of the guys. And it's actually a more of a beneficial recipe for the passing game. You get the ground and pound game going on the ground early on, maybe first half, back half of the second quarter. Then you're looking at a lot of play action passing for the rest of the game. This is going to really open up your options. Hopefully the weather will permit to where they can throw some short passes, maybe a West Coast style offense or what have you. But this is the potential for us to win back-to-back top 10 games against SEC teams.
It would be definitely a feat. And the only problem I see is that, not to say that, well, for the one thing, Florida has yet to have a bye. They have yet to have the bye, so that is going to get into their stamina. It's going to play a factor. The problem is they just came off of a grueling loss at the hands of LSU, who is now number 2 in the country. Florida was number 7 before this game. Now they're number 9. They're going to come into South Carolina hungry and pissed. That doesn't mean they're not going to be tired, but I think that they're going to have that mindset of we need to prove that we are still as good as we say we are, especially on a team that just beat another ranked SEC opponent.
Well, you have a team that's hungry, and you have a team that's coming off a great momentum shifter for their organization and for the school, so I'm interested to see what's going to happen in this game on Saturday.
It's even got the potential to, if we were to win this, then a little bit would have to happen. Florida would have to beat Georgia later in the season, or Georgia would have to get another loss, but there might be the potential for us to win the SEC East on a season where the Gamecocks looked like it was dead in the water. And so we're going from being dead in the water to now the potential to even be in conversation for winning the SEC East, I think is a insane turnaround for this program, and I think it shows the resiliency of the Gamecocks. But that's all we got for you here in the studio today. And until next time, South Carolina, Spurs up.